Welcome to a new project management idea. My name is Phil. I've been training and coaching project management for over 18 years now. I've also been certified in lots of Project Management Institute certifications, as you can see on the screen. And I've worked in a number of industries: healthcare, gaming, engineering. And many of the companies here on the screen, you might already know them. I've also been a trainer and coach to government agencies and companies worldwide, such as the DoD. As you can see here, a photo with my friends at Fort Lee after project management professional training. I love training government because they totally get the understanding of process, a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. I also enjoy training companies that understand that in order to succeed, we cannot rely on dumb luck, but we must plan and we must have a path, as it were, to whatever we're trying to achieve. There are two types of processes in the world. There's definable type work and there's high uncertainty work. And definable projects are characterized by clear procedures that have proved successful on similar projects in the past. High uncertainty projects have high rates of change, complexity, and risk. These characteristics can present problems for traditional predictive approaches that aim to determine the bulk of the requirements upfront and control changes through a change request process. And that's okay. But in all that we do, whether it's definable work or high uncertainty work, we should be aware of two things. We should be aware of process and the importance of process, and also practice. What is practice? The actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method, as opposed to the theories relating to it. We could also look at this as the customary, habitual, or expected procedure or way of doing of something. How do we do things in a firm? How do we do things in fully plan-driven projects? This could be summarized looking at this image, which we call the Stacy complexity model. And this just shows you that whether you are close to agreement in your requirements or close to certainty on how you tackle the project, you could carry out a variety of practices, plan-driven practices or agile practices. When we talk about fully plan-driven projects, you typically hear this being named as the waterfall approach. The waterfall approach works best when requirements are well understood. In other words, you will be in this zone of the chart. Requirements are close to agreement, and the project understanding is close to certainty. There's little chance of change. For projects that fall into this zone, we would say simple. You could use a plan-driven approach as much as possible. We also have top right of the screen going into the Anarchy Zone. This is when Agile thrives best. High variability, need to experiment to discover best solutions, and when change is likely. Now, you could be anywhere on a continuum. Looking at this chart from the PMI's Agile Practice Guide, we can see a continuum of life cycles. And what this espouses is you could be anywhere on this continuum between predictive and agile. There's some instances where you may need to develop and deliver in an incremental fashion, and those where you need to deliver in an iterative fashion. So the title of this webinar is A New Project Management Idea, because for long we've heard predictive and agile methods are at war with each other. And while they're not at war with each other, it would be foolish to postulate that the same practices and, I dare say, principles can totally be used in both sides of this continuum. In the predictive side of the continuum, you will find certain principles and ideas and methods more prevalent than in the agile side of the continuum. So I call this a new project management idea because I want you to see how you could think about plan-driven projects in a non-threatening way. Two, Agile projects. So I'd like to show you, first of all, what I call the plan-driven mindset. You know, we have the Agile Manifesto and mindset. Well, this is the plan-driven mindset. Let's take a look at it really quick. So here we go, the plan-driven mindset. At the helm of the mindset is you. Now, as you, the project manager, or whoever you are on the project, approaches project management, you need to consider these values. At the center of all interaction should be the mindset that authorization is vital, but leadership through collaboration is key. Always plan ahead. What does it mean to plan ahead? Predetermine your course of action, lay out your goals, allow time for adjustment, notify key personnel, allow time for acceptance, head into action, expect problems, always point to the positive, and a daily review. Number 3, execute the plan, but modify the plan as needed. And number 4, close projects with consensus and benefits accountability. Applying these 4 values to your plan-driven projects will go a long way in putting everyone on the same page and helping you achieve value and benefits from the end result. Secondly, I'd like to share the 10 knowledge nuggets, and these are from the 10 knowledge areas of project management. They are as follows: integrate the project, scope the project to the degree needed, schedule to the degree needed, budget to the degree needed, make it fit, conforming, and satisfying. Lead the team with emotional intelligence and consideration. Transparency in communications. Number 8, identify and manage risks intentionally. Number 9, contractors as collaborators is important. And number 10, stakeholders come first. Lastly, let's talk about the practices that you can find in fully plan-driven project management. The concept of a project charter, a project management plan, a WBS, the project schedule, the schedule baseline, the cost baseline, the lessons learned register, knowledge management, information management, the project management information system, change log, the issue log, the risk register, the RACI chart, bid documents, the stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, the P times I grid, the power interest grid, the stakeholder register, and the probability and impact matrix. These are a few of the practices that you find in fully plan-driven project management. Lastly, I'd like to introduce you to the plan-driven manifesto. Since there was none, I took it upon myself to write one. Think me versus we versus me, and think us versus them. Man is inherently good, believe the best. Do not hallucinate freely. Number 3, focus on value, quality, and relationship over schedule, quantity, and profits. Number 4, always put leadership first over every step you take. Number 5, act in the best interest of the business over self. Number 6, lessons learned as equity. View failure as a learning mechanism. Allow discovery to run its course. Number 7, seek to understand the why behind the why, the 5 W's and the H: what, when, where, why, who, how. Number 8, plan first, but always plan to change the plan in the event of change. Number 9, execute to the existing plan. Number 10, expect to discover. Check-in is a continuous loop. Number 11, value rejection over misacceptance. Number 12, close the door, but not your mind or heart. In other words, keep those interpersonal relationships in the forefront. And that is how I see project management in the world of plan-driven project management. Now, with that said, remember I told you there is a world of agile project management. Now, you might ask, what does that world look like? It's very complementary, very similar. But I really want to hammer home, when you're working on projects, you got to remember you're either more plan driven or more change driven, or perhaps you're somewhere in the middle, relatively. Let's talk about the world of agile for a little bit. In order to make it a full circle discussion, be aware that more organizations are embracing agile, and a full 71% of organizations report using agile, as you can see on the screen from PMI's report, for their project, sometimes, often, or always. In other words, there's going to be some mix on a continuum. And that's why agile understanding is very important. And you see it being tested on professional exams today, and you find exams totally dedicated to agile. So let's talk about the Agile Manifesto and mindset. Thought leaders of the software industry formalized the Agile movement in 2001. Yes, it started off with software, but it's moved into a lot of product, hardware, a lot of service-oriented organizations are using Agile. And it states we are covering better ways of developing software by doing it, helping others do it. Through this work, we've come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools, work in software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Now, when you think about it, these are good things. These are things that we should take and even use in plan-driven projects. So think about it. Individuals should come first because we're working the project with people for people. Working software. Think about it like working product. Working product over bunches of documentation. Is documentation bad? No, it's not. But wouldn't you rather have a working product than a boatload of documents with a poor product? So we're emphasizing that you must get your product to work, fit for use, conformance to requirements, customer satisfaction, right? Actually working. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. When people come together and collaborate, the outcome is greater than when they negotiate and everything's contract driven. Because when you collaborate, you're working together. You're not working for someone, you're working with someone. Responding to change over following a plan. It's important to respond to change. Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until you're punched in the face. Then your plan changes. So it's important to be able to respond to change. As we can see in the middle of this crazy pandemic, those companies that were unable to respond to change are no more. So while there's value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. Moving into the Agile Manifesto and mindset. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable products. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So unlike plan-driven projects where everything is planned and follows fine line, in the world of Agile, we understand that change and requirements will come. So the way we respond to change in the world of Agile is a lot more agile than in the world of predictive. And that's okay because the projects that we work in the world of predictive are usually projects that are expected to end in a particular way, and that's part of the contract and the bargain, and projects that in many instances may affect lives. Think about large infrastructure projects, bridges, dams, multi-story structures, massive healthcare type projects. So there needs to be some consideration for both sides, but in the world of Agile, we respond in a different way. Deliver work in software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. Again, you see the delivery cycle is quicker in this world. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Why? It's part of collaborating, part of understanding change and being able to respond to change and being able to self-correct. Number 5, build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. This is something you could use across any project, be it predictive, be it agile. Number 6, the most efficient and effective methods of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. I believe we took that for granted quite a bit, but now we see the challenges of communicating via the web without seeing faces. And that's why so many people have bought webcams. You probably find the rate of people buying webcams has gone up through the roof. And webcam companies are probably doing quite well, better than before. Because now we realize that Professor Emeritus Albert Mehrabian was right when he said 7% of communication is words, just 7% is words. The 55% is body language. And that's why people turn on the webcam. And that's why number 6 says face-to-face conversation. So while we don't exactly have pure face-to-face, we have a webcam, which could help in communicating. That's why Zoom and many of these other companies are doing so well round about now. Number 7, work in software is the primary measure of progress. In other words, work in product is a measure of how much progress you have. Number 8, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. In other words, the rate of work should be constant. The amount of work you're getting done in story points, your velocity, it should be constant. Now, when you have team members coming in, of course, that will change. But for the most part, we want to get empirical data and use that to plan. Number 9, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Number 10, simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. In other words, don't do busy work just because it's in a contract. And this is where Agile varies a little bit from the world of predictive. In the world of predictive, if it's in the plan, if it's part of the scope, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. And that's why we use plan driven for what we use it for, because we know what goes into the scope has to be done. In this world of Agile, where we are adapting extremely rapidly, it's different. In the world of construction, you wouldn't say, forget the 6th story, just go straight to the 7th floor and leave the 6th and the 5th out. You wouldn't do that. So it's a different way you look at things. Are there things that could change even on a plan-driven project that you could swap out? Absolutely. But it's not the norm. Number 11, the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. Now, this is not bad to give your team some leeway to be self-organized in certain tasks, in certain phases, in certain stages, even on a plan-driven project. Number 12, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Why wouldn't we do that? This is good stuff. So everything we have in this world of Agile could be looked at from a different lens, from the angle of a fully plan-driven project, and you could extract these things and use them, even in your plan-driven projects. So my suggestion to you is to begin to look at project management approaches, whether you say it's predictive or whether you say it's agile, such as what we have on the screen here, the 4 values in the world of Agile, the 12 principles in the world of Agile, and the practices, retrospective, sprints, backlog preparation, backlog refinement, daily stand-ups, demos, reviews, sprint planning, continuous integration, ATDD, spikes, burn-up charts, burn-down charts, self-organizing teams, and many more. We can use these things, and we can intermingle these things to become more efficient as project managers, to become smarter as project managers. So the summary, my friends, is when you take a look at project management, I want you to have a new project management idea. That project management is complementary across the poles of fully plan driven and change driven, or waterfall, if you will, and agile. As a project manager, it is your duty to understand the best of both worlds, combine them together, and as it were, become a hybrid project manager. Thank you very much for joining me. I wish you all the very best. For more information, go on down to our website, praizion.com. If you have any questions, please let us know. Take care. Bye for now.